106.3 Smooth FM as we sit and we talk with the next featured artist for our cool, smooth, and soulful Afterwork Cool Down. I want everyone out there as you're listening to Within Your Spirit and Mind to welcome Aysha to 106.3 Smooth FM. Aysha, how are you today?
I am wonderful. How are you?
Oh, I am just fine. And I have to tell you, the anticipation for what now will just be days away from the performance that we have of you coming to Holyoke, Massachusetts. You're just the buzz. Everybody is just waiting with great anticipation. Let's talk a little bit about your music. You're a vocalist, your jazz, your R&B. Tell me where it all began for you.
Wow. Well, when I was a little girl, I always wanted to sing, but was told by my best friend and other people that, leave it to someone else, that I really couldn't sing. And I just never gave up. It's kind of funny because later on, my best friend had me sing at her wedding, the one that told me I couldn't sing.
Oh, so, interesting how time changes things.
Yeah, and she doesn't remember that she said that, but I remember.
Let me ask a little bit about that, because sometimes, I think we all have dreams of what we think we can be, and sometimes maybe it's not the naysayers. Has your tone actually developed and changed from those times when folks thought, maybe you didn't have it, but you have the dream, but later on, did the sound actually develop?
Well, I think I developed into my own style, just knowing how to use my voice a little bit more, where, I didn't know how to use it before. Things definitely attributed to my vocal ability getting better. And then I just developed my own style, didn't try to mimic anybody, and just worked with, my breathing. And so definitely through the years doing that made me a better vocalist.
Were there artists or types of music that influenced you?
Well, I grew up with just, old school R&B. My first concert that I ever went to was Earth, Wind & Fire. I just loved R&B. But I also love smooth jazz, but like some of my influences are, Sade is one of my influences. I just loved her style and her class. But vocally, Rochelle Farrell, Phyllis Hyman, those were some great voices that I loved and looked up to. But R&B was my favorite type of music, even as a little kid, and still to this day. And then singing and recording, what naturally came out of my mouth had more of a little bit of a jazz edge to it. So I don't really have a specific genre that I'm in, but I say I'm R&B with a jazzy edge. And that's kind of just what comes out of my mouth naturally, where I don't have to try and do something that I'm not.
Okay. I've asked you about artists that influence you, and you talk about the likes of Phyllis Hyman for one, and Sade for another. I understand that you and Toni Braxton worked together on a project, be it live or in studio. Share a little bit, please, about that experience.
Well, actually, I didn't work with Toni Braxton. One of the people that she used to work with wrote a song for me, and that song is called "Is This Just a Dream?" He wrote the track, but he used to play for her. But I didn't actually get to work with Toni Braxton myself.
Okay. Then that being said, why don't we use that as an in? Is this just a dream? Let me play a little bit of a sample of that right now for our listeners, if you don't mind.
Okay, sure.
I'm floating on a cloud, flying high up in the sky as I dream of you, and you're right by my side, loving you with all my might. I wish these dreams came true. Then I wake up lying next to you.
Now, Aysha, let me ask you, if there's one thing when it comes to music, I think it's there in part to put a message and an image in people's minds. What goes through your mind as you perform, if not this song, kind of music in general? What happens inside Aysha?
Well, when I write the lyrics to the songs, I feed off of my own life experiences, whether it be something that I had in the past or that was happening now or that I, hope to happen. And so I think about that, and so that I can feel what I'm singing, so it comes out with emotion. And so and from what people tell me, they say they can feel the emotion behind what I sing, and which is what I hope for, which is something that Phyllis Hyman used to do so well. She could really tell a story with her music, and that's one of the things I really looked up to with her.
Well, I think you accomplished it very well. Now, we talked about the selection that was written by one of the individuals who writes and produces some works for Toni Braxton. You have a couple of covers that you have done as well. Do you tend to write more of your music, or do you also find equally as much things that are introduced for you that kind of fit your groove, so you present those to your audience as well?
I do a mixture of all that. I do like to have a part in every song if possible in writing, but there are some covers that I've chosen that really fit the vibe of what I was trying to go for the whole album as a whole collective. And then some songs that were presented to me on my last album that I just couldn't turn down because they just felt so good and so right and made me think of things that I had experienced, so I could really sing them with conviction, and that, because I had lived that before. So where I get my music from, it has to be something that I really feel, because I won't just take a track from somebody and not feel it and want to record it. I don't do that, because I think it doesn't come out right when I don't really feel it inside.
I understand. Now, I want to be the first to say, and there's a school of practicing what you preach, and I am one to never judge a book by its cover. But you do have one song that I notice here that you did perform live when you were at the Romance Meets Jazz, which I have to admit is just a great title for a live performance event. Romance Meets Jazz. But within that, I opened with judging a book by its cover, because I remember the music of Christopher Cross growing up. And when you talk about getting one sound out of a different cover, yes, who would have ever thought that the artist Christopher Cross, the male artist, would sing the way that he does? So I noticed that you covered one of his songs, and if you don't mind, I'd like to share just a little bit of that.
Oh, sure.
Here we are. And again, this from the live show, which may kind of give you a sense of what it's like to have Aysha before you this coming Friday night. So you hear the live audience in the background. But by all means, get inside and enjoy the imagery of this as she performs Sailing. So, Aysha, again, as you described to me that some of the songs that you perform, be it for an album or your live show, kind of have a reflection on you. Now, you being on the West Coast and, Los Angeles more your home, but still out there by the waterways and the Bay. Tell me what it is that made that song part of what you felt would fit for your live show.
Well, I have always loved that song. And that song has always made me feel really good and kind of reflect. I grew up in Santa Barbara, right along the water, and my uncle had a sailboat, and we used to sail to Catalina, which is an island not too far out from Santa Barbara, and we would sail a lot, and it just made me think back to all those really good times of just being out there and not a care in the world type of thing. And loving the song, so I thought, well, why not? I know other people loved it just as much, and that was the first night that I had ever played that song, and it just went over really well. Everybody was so happy that I added it to my set list, so I kind of kept it in there.
Well, it did. It sounded really good. I enjoyed being able to catch that performance. I want to ask
Thank
you,
you.
again, looking inside the history of some of the artists that you have dealt with, um, for those of my listeners that for a moment would want to live vicariously through you, because I think we'd all like to know what it's like to have, even for a moment, to have met and spent time with Michael Jackson, and I understand that you have. Can you share a bit?
Well, yeah, I mean, it was an incredible opportunity, and the person that I worked with was his musical director for his the vocals, and so he worked with him for many, many years. I mean, through most of his solo touring, and so I was just honored to be, and blessed to be working with him, and working through him, I got to meet Michael, and just an incredible experience.
Is there a question that you just had to ask, and if so, what was it, and what was the answer he gave you, or the advice he may have offered you?
I really didn't even go there with him. I was just so in awe. I think just to be brutally honest, I was just taken back by that. Wow, this is Michael Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
And, I talked more to the producer that I was working with, who, worked with him, but talking to Michael and asking him, I kind of froze.
I totally understand. I totally understand. And I surely did not mean to stump you with a question, but I can understand that for all of us being a fan, that we may walk with that thought, wow, if I ever get a chance to meet him, what would I ask him? And then the opportunity knocks and the question just never comes. You're just...
No, because you have a brain freeze.
We've talked about your music. We've talked about some of the artists that you, in fact, cover. I'm sitting here now, and Stay With Me is there from your album. And I should note that Aysha's music, whether you go through, the Amazon.coms and the like, you want to order the music, you can also get it through CD Baby, and you can also pick up singles on iTunes.
Right.
But as we are gathered here this moment, let's just get a little taste of Stay With Me. Aysha right here on 106.3 Smooth FM.
Like the rays of sun, you warm my soul. Without your love, it'd be so cold. Wrap me in your arms, keep me safe and warm, safe and warm. Being here with you makes me feel so free. Well, can this be forever? I'm not afraid to say you're the one for me. So come on, baby, stay with me. Stay with me tonight, stay with me now. Stay with me. Stay with me tonight, stay with me now. Stay with me. Stay with me tonight, stay with me now. With you is where I wanna be. Where I wanna be. I can't imagine how my life would be.
Yeah, I can't imagine either. I made reference to judging a book by its cover, and if we consider the pages to be your music and just your vision of you to be the cover, beautiful on the outside, beautiful on the inside, Aysha.
Oh, thank you so much.
Let's talk about Stay With Me. Tell me how that came to be.
Wow. Well, a very good friend of mine and producer, since '98 we started working together. His name is Monty Seward. He and I, worked together on the very first songs that I ever wrote. And he had gotten a new studio, so he says, you got to come out and check it out. So we were just, visiting, and I was getting ready to leave. He was like, you can't leave until we write something. I'm like, oh, well, okay, So I made a couple phone calls and canceled some plans, and we just sat there and we started playing with the music. And I normally write my songs by writing the lyrics first, and then we write music to go with it.
Sure.
But this time we started playing with the music first, because I wasn't prepared. I didn't have anything written and hadn't brought it to him. So we started playing with the different vibes, and we went through, and then all of a sudden I found something that I really, really liked, and we started building the track. And so he left the room, and I'm just sitting there listening. I'm listening. All of a sudden, the title came to me, "Stay With Me," and I thought, perfect, because I was in this really great place in my life and relationship, and I was feeling really good, and I was like, this is going to be so easy. I can feel this song, and so I built it off of that title, and we wrote it that night and recorded it, and it was just kind of a fluke that we were even going to be writing together again, and we came up with "Stay With Me," and I got Everett Harp to play saxophone on it. He's a very good friend of mine, and some great musicians. So we took the track, and then I hired musicians to come in and play it. So it's all live.
Let me ask you, because I've commented just to your beauty, and again, it can't be ignored.
Thank you.
Unless I'm missing something in my research, do you have any kind of modeling / television background? And if the answer, at least on the latter, is no, I sure wonder why.
I don't at the moment. I would like to. It's just really getting with the right people. There's a lot of companies and agents out here, but a lot of ones that they say they are and they're not.
Certainly.
This that's Los Angeles for you, or Southern California.
Mm-hmm.
But I definitely want to pursue all avenues of the entertainment, whether it be TV, film, modeling, all that, along with music. So I'm looking towards that and just trying to get the right help that I need to get me where I need to go to do it right.
Okay, now I want to go a little bit off, well, not off track, but almost off road, because having looked through your photo gallery, you do seem to have this thing where you lean toward fine automobiles.
I do like my cars.
So I would almost ask, and if you would just expand your mind and humor me a bit. If money was no object, be it a car from today, yesterday, or tomorrow, ideally, what would Aysha's personality be most comfortable behind the wheel of?
Oh, probably, I don't know. I really like the Aston Martin.
Okay, it says a lot. Again, it's
Does
just
it?
most definitely. And I didn't want to lean into whether or not you were a Porsche girl or maybe Maserati, or I don't see Bentley as your style. But
No,
Aston Martin.
probably not. But the Aston Martin is nice, really nice.
So everybody out there listening, as she throws that out as far as to just the type of automobile that kind of fits her personality, it tells you a little bit about the woman's personality, I would think. Your personality, you talk about how Sade, and I admit that I can kind of see where you could use her as a muse for your sound. Let's take another little taste of your music. I Remember You, Love. Let's just have a little play on it. .106.3 Smooth FM, almost make that like an out cue, as we sit and we talk with the artist Aysha, who will be featured in our next cool, smooth, and soulful Afterwork Cool Down. Aysha, what influenced that song right there?
Well, that is one of those songs that was brought to me that I just fell in love with. Remember when you asked me back, a little ways back, if I, wanted to write them all, or covers, or what.
Some submissions, by all means, by other writers, sure.
And that was one of the songs that was given to me by the gentleman that worked with Michael Jackson. Kevin Dorsey is his name.
Oh, I'm glad that came back full circle. Tell me more.
Yeah, and he had actually 3 tracks that are off of that album: Keep on Loving Me, Dreamin', and I Remember Your Love. And that song just hit home to me because I had an experience like that, and I was like, wow. I mean, my heart just dropped when I heard it. I was like, oh, I've got to do this song. I know it's not really R&B and it's not really jazz, but it just feels so good, so I got to do it. And that's how it came about.
No, you did it well. It's nice that when we watch all of this music or listen to it, and again, we play you exclusively here at 106.3 Smooth FM. The listeners have an understanding for your music. They are really vibing with your sound. And again, they just can't say enough in the anticipation that, of course, you safely make your way to us so that this Friday night we can be graced by your performance at the Holyoke Hotel and Conference Center.
Oh, that's so great. I'm so excited, and I can't wait to get out there and put on a great show for everybody and just get to meet everyone and have a good time.
If you look at the way that you climbed to where your success has you today, I think that there's always aspiring singers, even if you look back to the little girl that you were, where some people said, I don't think so, and then later on they're calling you up saying, please, come play for me. Mm-hmm. Do you have some advice for those who may in fact be young and aspiring like you in an industry, much less an economy, that is ever changing?
Well, yeah, I mean, I always say if you really, in your heart, you want to do something, you want to be a singer or whatever it is, don't let someone tell you can't do it. You know, if you work hard enough, you can accomplish anything that you want to accomplish if you put your mind to it. You really can. And if you let someone else's words get in the way, you know, it's always going to be something that you always wondered, well, could I have done it? And, you know, I just didn't want to be that person. So I just said, you know, that's your opinion. Well, I think I can sing, and you know, even though I probably couldn't back then, but I just worked hard at it, you know, and you just keep going, and that's what brought me where I am today. And I just decided, for me, I wanted to learn all aspects, the business side as well as the artist side, so that, you know, I could make a career of this and not get taken advantage of. And you know, I love being an independent artist. It's a lot more work than being with a major label, but I get to do it my way.
I was going to say, I do. I think you're able to maintain control that way.
Right.
And I can definitely sense from your independent personality that by all means you like to be able to have that control. And I think you can be more comfortable that way as well in your music and in your performing.
Exactly.
Is there a last question that I have for you? Maybe. Oh, okay. No. We're not going to let the bottom fall out. The show coming up. Give the folks a little sense of what it is that they're going to hear, and maybe we can call it a wrap.
Okay. Well, we're going to play some things that you're familiar with, some covers, but then we're going to play some things that maybe you're not, that hopefully you will fall in love with. Some upbeat, maybe get you dancing a little bit, and some things that might hit your heart.
Ooh.
So all my stuff really is heart driven, or, you know, emotion in regards to love, relationships, that type of thing. So just get ready for a nice show and a few little surprises here and there.
All right. So, again, I guess for our listeners, gentlemen, fellas, this could be a great date night opportunity if you want to make an impression on somebody special. You bring them out to our cool, smooth, and soulful afterwork cool down. And you can make a very nice impression when it's done on someone significant or someone that you hope will be. So you don't want to miss this. Aysha coming to the Holyoke Hotel and Conference Center Friday night. Doors open at 6. Showtime is at 7. Aysha, thank you very much for taking time out of your busy schedule to sit here and chat with me today.
Oh, my pleasure, and thank you so much.
Oh, look forward to seeing you. We will be here with, I must say, arms and ears open and ready for you to play for us, all right?
Sounds great.
Thank you very, very much now.
You're welcome.